Chemistry in Everyday Life chapter Organic Chemistry. Topic Narcotics, Analgesics. Morphine, heroin, and codeine are narcotic analgesic. When administered in medicinal dosage, they relieve pain and produce sleep. They are used for the relief of post-operative pain, cardiac pain, and pain of the terminal cancer and in childbirth. In heavy dosage, they produce the stupor, coma, convulsion, and ultimately death. They are habit-forming drugs, and their continuous use leads to lots of side effects. They are obtained from the opium poppy, and hence also known as the opiates. Antimicrobials, drugs which inhibit the actions or growth or microbes such as the bacteria, fungi, virus. For example, antibiotic, antiseptics, and disinfectant. The term antibiotic was first used in the 1942. It was used to describe a substance produced by microorganism that is capable of inhibiting the growth of even destroy some other microorganism organisms with advanced in the medicinal chemistry and development of new synthetic methods. This definition has now been modified. An antibiotic refer to substance produced wholly by chemical synthesis, low concentrations, inhibits growth or destroy microorganisms by intervening in their metabolic processes. Antibiotics. Antibiotics are used as the drugs to treat infections caused by the microorganism because of their low toxicity for human beings and animals. The substance which adversely affect the bacteria but not the host have been used since long times. The compounds used for this purpose in 19th century and early 20th century include arsenic, amine, salvarsan, protonsil, and sulfur drugs. Sulfur drugs are sulfonamide analogous. One of the most effective sulfur drugs is sulfapyridine. The real revolutions in antibacterial therapy began with the discovery of Alexander Fleming in 1929. He found antibacterial properties in Penicillium fungus. It was subsequently concluded that the Penicillium fungus releases a compound which is capable of killing or repressing the growth of many bacteria. The isolations, purifications, and clinical trials of active compound took 13 years. The active compounds was named penicillin, and its discovery and usefulness was reported 1942. Alexander Fleming was given Nobel Prize in 1945. A large number of other antibiotics have been discovered since then. Antibiotics Antibiotics are most useful than the antibacterial drugs used earlier because of their lower toxicity human being and the animals, and because they are capable of acting against a larger numbers of bacteria. Antibiotics having bactericidal killing effect on bacteria are known as bactericidal antibiotics. Penicillin and ofloxacin are the example of bactericidal antibiotics. Antibiotics having a static inhibitory effect on the bacteria are known as bacteriostatic antibiotics. Erythromycin, tetracycline, and chloramphenicol are the example of the bacteriostatic antibiotics. Antibiotics are also classified on the basis of range of bacteria or other microorganisms affected by them. Antibiotics affecting a wide range of the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria known as the narrow-spectrum antibiotics. Antibiotics affecting only a single bacteria are known as the limited-spectrum antibiotics. Penicillin is a narrow-spectrum antibiotic. Ampicillin and amoxicillin are synthetic modifications of penicillin. They are broad-spectrum antibiotics. Ofloxacin and chloramphenicol are also broad-spectrum antibiotics. Antibiotics. Penicillin was used mainly for treatment of fever, throat infection, meningitis, syphilis, and diphtheria. Chloramphenicol was mainly used for the treatment of typhoid. It was also used for the treatment of dysentery, fever, urinary infections, meningitis, and pneumonia. Streptomycin was also used mainly for treatment of tuberculosis. Note: limited spectrum antibiotics. Antibiotics which are effective against a single organism or disease are called limited spectrum antibiotics. Dicidagirin is a limited spectrum antibiotic which is toxic toward certain strains of the cancer cell. Antiseptics. These are applied to the living tissues such as wounds, cuts, ulcers, and diseased skin surface. Furacin, soframycin, Dettol, a mixture of chloroxylenol and terpineol, 0.2% solutions of phenol, biothenol used as the antiseptics, properties to soaps, tincture of iodine, 2 to 3% solutions of iodine, in alcohol-water mixture, iodoform, and dilute aqueous solutions of boric acid. Disinfectants these are applied to inanimate objects like floors, drains, and instruments. Chlorine, sulfur dioxide, potassium permanganate, hydrogen peroxide, and phenol are used as the disinfectants. Some substances can act both as antiseptics as well as disinfectant. At lower concentrations they act as antiseptics, and at the higher concentrations they act as the disinfectant. For example, 0.2% solutions of phenol acts as antiseptic, whereas the 1% solutions of phenols acts as disinfectant. Anti-fertility drugs. These drugs are used to reduce the birth rate. Birth controls pills essentially contain a mixture of synthetic estrogens and progesterone derivatives. Both of these compounds are hormones. It is known that progesterone suppresses ovulation. It is known that progesterone suppresses ovulation. Synthetic progesterone derivatives are more potent than the progesterone. Synthetic progesterone derivatives are more potent than progesterone. Norethindrone. This is the synthetic progesterone derivative most widely used as the anti-fertility drug. The estrogen derivative, which is used in the combinations with progesterone derivative, is ethinyl estradiol, novestrol. Used for sulfa drugs. Sulfaparidine, used to cure pneumonia. Sulfadiazine, used to cure pneumonia, throat infection, meningitis. Sulfacetamide, used to cure urinary tract infections. Succinyl sulfathiazole, useful in intestinal infections such as bacillary dysentery and cholera. Sulfaguanidine, used to cure bacillary dysentery. Ranitidine and cimetidine are used in the treatment of peptic ulcers. Pantoprazole and omeprazole are the new drugs used to inhibit the gastric secretions. Therapeutic index TI. Maximum tolerated dosage MTD. Maximum curative dosage MCD.